Hi there and welcome. This video is all about ankle mobility. Now you're probably wondering, why is ankle mobility so important? And let me tell you, our ankles, or better our feet, are the foundation for every movement. Just think about it. Functional movements like squatting, lunging, jumping and running. Also, our ankle joints are part of a bigger chain. Let's call it the leg chain, comprising of the knee joint and the hip joint. So if any of these joints are not working properly or not bending, extending in the way that we desire, then we often feel tension and tightness. Like, for example, let's take the hamstring muscles. Often we feel tension and tightness in our hamstring muscles. And to stretch these, we also need some flexibility in our ankle joints, so we can reach further, getting deeper into those muscles. The same with the quadriceps. I see this quite often. Tight quadriceps also refers down to tightness in the ankle joint. So, what can we do about this? Movement, first and foremost. Flexibility comes over time, and often we need to start doing something to improve our situation. So, let me show you a few simple exercises today to get started. Okay, first, we're sitting on the floor with our legs extended. Very comfortable, just sitting there. You can support yourself with your hands behind the back or just comfortably resting them to the side. And what we're doing here first is we're extending, flexing, extending. So, flex, extend. And what we're gonna do here is we're keeping the heels on the mat. And what we want to focus on is complete movement. So even the toes are moving with it. So we want to stretch them towards us, so the heels sort of lifting up, and then move them away from us with the toes pointing far away. Then we can start doing this with the breath, using the inhalations to draw the toes close, exhalations to push them away. Okay, and here we want to make the movement as complete as possible, pushing through the ankle joints. Okay, you might hear some cracking. It might feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but with movement things warm up and become a little more fluid. Okay, so after flexion extension we're going into rotation. So our heels still firmly on the mat. We're moving just the ankle joints, and here again also the toes are moving with it. So we're pointing the toes while they're pushing away, and we bring them towards us when they're coming back. Okay. What I sometimes see is that people try to make the circle bigger and moving from the hips or the knees. You shouldn't do this. So keep your hands in this position, maybe on the knees, so you can control where the movement is really coming from. Keep your heels on the mat and keep circling. So I just changed the direction of the circle because I felt that my ankles are getting tired. So it's nice going the opposite way, really making the circle as big as possible. Very good. Okay. Coming back to center. And then we're wiggling our feet, the leg. So here we're flopping the feet to either side. And the movement now comes from the hips. So we want to make sure the whole leg is loose. Okay, that always feels great. It's a good warm up. Okay. Then let's move into our first exercise for the ankle joints. So we're coming onto all fours. Okay, so this might not be that easy for some. We're starting with sitting on the heels with the toes tucked under. So keep your hands in front of you because you don't want to put your whole weight back at once. You want to ease into this. So for me, I have relatively flexible feet and ankles, so I can sit back now onto my heels without a problem. If you feel this is causing you pain, try to use a block or a book. You can sit on the block so your body weight is a little bit more supported, not just on your toes. Then, when you feel the stretch is quite intense, especially for the underside of your feet, for the plantar fascia, remove your block and flatten your feet now, sitting on the ankles. So now this is going the opposite way. Again, if you feel, no, this is hurting, you're sitting too much on these bones. I'm using 2 blocks now actually. So just to show you, so because here you want to keep your feet nice and straight, not letting them fall out to the side, because that again puts pressure on some ligaments around the ankle, and we don't want that. We want the foot to be nice and straight so that we can start opening up the front of the foot. Often we're quite stuck there. So this is a great exercise. They are sometimes call it the thunderbolt pose as well. So here you gently breathe into your belly and relax. Often I say stay here for 20 or 30 seconds before moving back to our first position. So again, we're taking the hands in front, tucking the toes under, and we want to sit back. So of course, if this is too tough for you, that's not a problem at all. Keep your hands where they are and just push into your toes. Sometimes not all toes reach. This is the first exercise to do. Try to get all your toes firmly on the mat and push into your toes. This will start to stretch out the joints around the toes. Once your toes are all on the mat, you can try again to sit back further. So either using the bolster or yoga block like I do now, or of course just sitting on your heels as they are. And again here, firmly breathing into your belly, trying to relax and ease into the deep stretch. Again, hold this for 20 or 30 seconds, or as long as you can keep up with the discomfort. Okay, let's release those toes again. So one more time, we're flattening the feet so we can sit on the heels. I'm just removing these blocks now so you can actually see. So in my case, my feet flatten all the way so I can sit comfortably on my heels. And I'm really trying to keep my heels underneath my buttocks so they're not popping out to the side. Because otherwise I stretch my ligaments on the outside of the ankle instead of the top of the foot. Okay. Again, here we're breathing comfortably into the belly, trying to keep the back straight. Okay, and relax. We're now coming out of this position, hands back in front. Okay, relax your feet. So if you need to wiggle them out, do some movement to release, please do so. The next exercise I would like to show you, this is also very good. So we're coming into a lunge position. Lunge, very functional. So the ankle and the knee are in one line, so it's 90 degrees. And our back knee goes back as far as comfortable. So here you're also getting a nice stretch into your quadriceps muscle. And before I carry on, I just want to show you, you can use your yoga blocks again for more support. Okay, so in any which way, if your hands don't reach the floor and you want to engage into this nice deep stretch, then put your blocks next to your feet and try to lean now into your hip joint here, stretching the quadriceps. So this is a good start. So now we're getting into ankle and hamstring. For this, we're moving now. So we're doing this with movement. I also move my yoga blocks. We're moving through the chain. So this is what I was trying to say. So from the lunge, we're going into straight leg. So for this, we're trying to keep the knee straight and the ankle is moving with it. So here we are bringing the toes up towards the body and trying to keep the knee straight and going back into the lunge. So here we're doing this a few times until it's warmed up, because you might notice that your hamstrings are very tight, your knee wants to slightly bend. That's not a problem. So you can work on straightening the knee further, or you keep it slightly bent and just try to engage into this movement. So now things have lengthened. So you can see I'm trying to really pull my toes up and bring them back down. Okay. So do this a few more times. This is very good for the hamstrings and the calves. Okay, and then we're staying here and only moving the ankle. So here it's the toes that are touching the mat and lifting back towards the body. Touching the mat, lifting towards the body. Okay, so here we're doing this at least 10 times. You feel this in your hamstrings, behind your knee, in your calf muscles. So it's a very nice exercise to get this moving. Okay, wonderful. Okay. So once this is completed, we're coming back into our lunge. So to rest, we're lunging again. Bring your blocks with you and we're sinking now deep again into our hip joint here to stretch the quadriceps. Okay, great. Then it is time to change the leg. So from here, bring your foot back behind and then bring the other one in front again, checking that your ankle and your knee are in one line. And you can nicely lunge now into the other quadriceps. So this is a very nice deep stretch for the quadriceps. Okay. Then we can start again with our movements. So I'm bringing the blocks with me. And we're bringing the hip behind, straightening out, or trying to straighten out the leg, bringing the toes up towards the body. Okay, oof. Let's do this first for the hamstrings. So here we're lunging and straightening the leg. So do this nice and slow, going from your lunge into this extended leg. Trying to straighten the knee, pull the toes up towards your body and return back to lunge. Okay, so we're doing this a few more times just to get some movement into here. Very nice. So again, if your knee doesn't want to straighten completely or it's very tight behind your knee, don't worry, keep it slightly bent and just engage in the movement. Maybe this will loosen things up and help you move easier. Okay, so one more lunge and then we're going back to our straight leg and here now pulling the toes fully up towards the body and then we're only moving the ankle. So now the toes are touching down, coming back towards the body, toes touching the mat, toes up towards the body. Okay, so you can repeat this at least 10 times. Notice what's going on in the ankle joint. You might hear some movement, crackling. You might feel fine. You might feel this again deep in your hamstrings. That's a good sign. It's working the whole chain. Okay, lovely. So again, with movement, we're loosening this. Okay. And one more time. Let's return back to our lunge position. Removing the block. So here, one more time, we're lunging nice and deep into our quadriceps muscle. Very good. Okay, once you're done, bring your leg back behind and rest. So resting for me would be on my heels. I see that often this is not very comfortable. So just sit on your buttocks, pull your feet out and relax here. We're going into one more exercise. So this is sometimes not that easy or comfortable. It's for our quadriceps muscle, and at the same time it gets the ankle joint as well, which is wonderful. One of the best exercises, I can tell you. Okay. So what I noticed, it helps putting a block under your buttocks. So to lift the hips a little more, then you don't have as much pressure on the front of the foot. And also the quadriceps is a little more relaxed. So if you manage to do this, great. If not, you can try to slide a towel or a blanket under your ankle to give it a bit more cushioning. Because what needs to happen is we need to open the chain, because the quadriceps is often tight, the ankle is tight. So sitting in this way might be very comfortable. So now, to really get a deep stretch on here, we're bringing our hands behind the body and leaning back. Okay, that's very nice. So here now you start to notice that it's the quadriceps, so here the insertion where it starts and running past the knees. So now you might feel this around your knee joint, pulling quite tightly. You might feel your knee is coming up, so try to push your knee into the mat. Here we really want to straighten as much as we can, so keep the body on the mat. And deep breathing into your belly. So I need to show you this without the block, because I can't go any further. So if you manage without block, then we can take the hands further, and especially we go here onto the elbows. So this is usually as far as it's comfortable for most. We're on the elbows now, so the hip is even more in extension here, making our quadriceps muscle to lengthen. So again, you might feel your knee wants to pull up. We're pushing the knee gently down into the mat, and we're breathing here into the quadriceps muscle. If you feel now your ankle joint is complaining a little bit, try and stay here for a couple more breaths and then release. If you feel your ankle joint is okay like this, don't worry, then we can stay a little longer. Most important is that we're easing into these stretches or into these movements, because we haven't moved probably in a long time like this, and to open up joints, it takes a little time. So don't worry. Okay, nice stretch. Usually I would say a minute or so to stay in this position. And then once we've stretched everything out, you can release again. That feels great. So I'm just shaking and wiggling my leg out. And then to even things out, so I just show you on the other side. So I turn around. So here again, I'm just bringing my ankle outside my hip. Also important, sometimes I see people tend to bend their ankles. I don't even know how that works, but they must be flexible in some other direction. So it's the outside of the ankle that gets all the pressure. They're turning their foot more inwards, trying to avoid the position. Or I also see this, that the foot turns out the other way. It's a good compromise to stretch the quadriceps, but it doesn't help our ankle joint. So again, we want to keep the foot straight behind, put something underneath. Honestly, this will help you a lot. And then bring your hands back behind. So I'm doing this now without blocks to get a nice deep stretch. If you need to, please use a block or a cushion to sit on to make this a little easier. Then once you feel okay, your knees are fine, everything feels pretty good, you can now get onto your elbows. And then we're staying here and breathe. Try to keep your knee pushed into the mat. So we not want to let this get away and lift. We want to keep pushing. Okay, nice deep breaths. Try and relax here. Think about the ankle joint, how nice the movement is, and also the quadriceps, hip joint. Everything gets a very good stretch here. Okay, and then we're slowly releasing again. So first coming onto the hands, bring the body back up to sitting, and then releasing the leg, stretching the leg out and wiggling it. Yeah, get some movement into there, making it comfortable again. And then just before we finish, so we spoke a lot about flexibility now, mobility, flexibility, but what about strength? What do we need for strength? For strength, we need a lot of these things where we put some weight onto the feet. So for this, again, very easy exercise. I do the standing. So feet hip width apart, and we're doing heel raises. Very good for the calf muscles, very good for the ankles. So here we're working on ankle stability and strength. Often there's a little bit of coordination issues. We're not using all the toes. We can't stand there for too long. We're shaking, we're losing balance. So this is another telltale sign that we need to strengthen our ankle joints. Okay, so here this is now going onto the toes. You can do the opposite as well, raising the toes and coming onto the heels. So this is like a back and forwards movement. You can try that as well. Fixate your gaze on one spot in front so you're not losing balance, but it's a very good exercise for your calves. Okay, a few more times. Now you hear a lot of cracking. There's a bit of popping in the joints, no problem. Okay. And then if you like, try to pull your toes up and just walk on your heels. Okay, if you manage that, you can try the opposite, coming onto your toes and walking a little bit on your toes, back and forth. And this is a lovely exercise to do during the day, just standing up from the desk, for example, while you're in the kitchen waiting for the jug to boil. All these things in the morning, just as a warm-up, 10 of these, they do wonder. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and take care.